I hope you have unlimited text messaging. By Miss Garr. Chapter 132. In-person conversation 13. Avenger team. Rebuilding. Tony absolutely loves his boyfriend, completely, without a doubt. Although there are moments where he doesn't necessarily like you very much. The most recent moment, when Tony had such thoughts involved his boyfriend making him spend breakfast with Sam and Romanov. Especially when they could be in bed together, since Tony had nowhere to be before noon. He feels like he needs to send Agent May a giant thank you basket or flowers for teaching Steve the thing with the tongue and the fingers. Now Tony has been through enough uncomfortable business lunches, breakfasts, and dinners to know how to get through any type of meal with people who completely hate him without it disintegrating into complete and utter chaos. So he's sure he can get through this, especially when he's almost sure only Romanov actually hates him. And even then, sometimes he wonders if it's just a strong dislike. Of course, that was before he stopped drinking. It's much harder to do this sober. He realized that during yesterday's business lunch. If he didn't have Steve to talk to, he's sure that the temptation may have become too much. When a certain now blonde ninja started talking about bad decisions made in Germany and Siberia, he sincerely wished that his orange juice would suddenly become a mimosa. Thankfully, Stevie Bear stopped that quickly by blaming himself for everything. That just made everything extra awkward. There's only so much flagellation anyone can take sober, even when you're a masochist, and Tony is pretty sure that his therapist would classify him as such. Or narcissist. Probably a masochistic narcissist. Is that a thing? If anyone could be both, it would be him. No one was yelling or screaming at each other, at least. It probably helped that Happy had decided to head back to Malibu early. Smart man. His friend may be to the point where he's not going to keep trying to set Tony up with Pepper, but he's not ready for pastries and coffee with Captain America yet. Tony can respect that. But Romanov is there, staring into his soul, trying to read into him. It's something that she's been doing for almost the last week. Sam is doing it too! And really, Tony is just glad they decided to do this in the hotel room instead of downstairs at the cafe. Being who he is, the paparazzi would be there in a second. He knows they smell the blood in the water, thanks to the Pepper breakup. After 15 minutes of near frigid silence, where even Steve has given up on trying to have a conversation, Tony decides to break out the video of Spidey Jr., Ms. Marvel, and the Barton kids playing soccer. Nate wasn't actively playing, but he was on the sidelines, cheering his big sister and brother on, even though they were on opposite sides. Everybody loves kids. Okay, Romanov loves her kids, and the Barton kids are hers. Tony is pretty sure he saw her cry on the way to the airport when she had to leave the kids behind. However, before he could pull up the video, the speed went dark. Now, Tony has traveled through enough of the world that the occasional blackout doesn't surprise him. Although the fact that the hotel's emergency power does not kick on does. His phone also starts beeping because apparently it's being continuously bombarded with an EMP every few seconds. That's not good, Tony mumbled to himself. He told Leo he was paranoid by putting EMP shielding on all the new Avenger Super Duper Secret cell phones, as well as an EMP alert. Obviously, he was wrong. Once he pushed the alerts away, Tony saw several text messages from Monkey Lover. Monkey Lover 2, your boyfriend is not looking at his phone, so I have to contact you directly. DC is dark due to a continuous EMP attack. I am working on restoring power. False flag operation in effect by watchdogs. Using the blackouts to attack Inhumans. I'm activating the Revenge of Hellfire protocol. Monkey Lover 2. LA just went out. They said they will take out power in the next city in 30 minutes if their demands are not met, instead of an hour like last time. The watchdogs tried to attack Yo-Yo on a date. They are now in custody. But there has to be similar attacks happening throughout the world. Monkey Lover 2. Not sure what city will be hit next, but I think it could be Mumbai or New York. Be ready. I've alerted Bulletproof Pacifist and Spidey to be on standby. Mr. and Mrs. Purple Arrow are also on standby. Monkey Lover 2. Still working on getting power back in DC. I've almost triangulated the location. You're going to need a compass and a slide ruler. I'm sure you know how to make one. Even with the shielding, Friday won't be able to do what she normally does. Me.
Yes, I know how to make a compass, but this is probably not the time to have me around a lot of wine corks. Okay, I'm sorry for asking Friday not to pass any messages to us, Steve said, looking up from his own phone. Apparently, he must have got similar messages. The power went off in DC about a minute after I asked Friday to do that. Terrorist attack? Sam asked. Yes, they are claiming they are the Inhuman Resistance, Steve tells the group. It's the Watchdogs, Tony added, always afraid this day would happen once he learned about the Accord's database. Of course it is. What is the Revenge of Hellfire protocol? Steve asked. Remember all those times I told you that I felt like the database with the locations of all the special people registered because of the Accords was like creating a supervillain hit list? Tony prompted his boyfriend. Yes. Well, the president and his cabinet thought I was being paranoid and wouldn't actually listen to that piece of advice. So Leo and I put in a bit of coding that would point whoever is breaking into the system in the direction of ready to fight, shield ATCU agents instead of a certain 11-year-old that's hiding on the Avenger compound? Steve supplied for him. Yes. The fact that they kept going after Miss Marvel's family despite being relocated 3 times until I decided to put them on the compound made me realize that the other agencies that have the database would be vulnerable. That's when Fizz and I came up with the Hellfire Protocol, Tony explained. Do I want to know where that name came from? Natasha asked. Leo, not that he would explain the name to me. Friday, Sweetie Pie put the compound on lockdown. Tony instructed his AI he wouldn't put it past the Watchdogs to attack the family again! I'm sorry, but Friday Avenger Compound is currently unavailable, as is Friday Malibu, Friday Queens, and Friday DC. His phone responded. Okay, that was weird. Friday shouldn't be unavailable, even with the EMP problem, unless somebody is purposely cutting off access. Of course, about 5 seconds after Tony realizes that's exactly what's going on, the door was kicked in. Tony is not surprised that 10 heavily armed men wearing dog masks and paramilitary gear walked into the room. Nor was he surprised that 2 were on the floor and severely unconscious before Tony realized that what will be the last model of the suitcase armor cannot assemble when a continuous EMP pulse is going on, especially when they've managed to jam Friday, definitely moving on to the nanotech suit as soon as he gets back to the US. But it's fine. Thanks to the Melinda May School of How to Be a Badass, Tony can hold his own against barely trained, bigoted assholes who hide behind their guns, especially when he knows how to use those guns against them. As many guns as he's designed, really. They should know that he would know the best way to disarm someone and use the gun against his attacker. That was 2 more on the ground, and at least he had a weapon now. You were supposed to be alone, evil puppy number 5 said, just as Steve punched him in the jaw. Nope, definitely not alone. Isn't Stefan just the best boyfriend ever? Tony smirked as he shot evil puppy number 6 in the hip. He's going for maiming, not killing right now, mostly because he really wants to question the assholes, so he can find the leak, plug it, and maybe convince President Ellis or his replacement that at least this part of the Accords was stupid/dangerous. He's one of those inhuman freaks, evil puppy number 5 said. It was about that time that Romanoff knocked him out. That was probably for the best, because Tony was 30 seconds from at least shooting the guy in the leg. So Steve was right that no matter the awkwardness or bad blood, they could fight and quit with the best of them. Really? I'm so tired of you guys trying to kill me, and badly. Seriously? What's with the dog masks? I mean, if you're going to wear a mask to conceal your identity, at least design something that allows for fighting. You're totally getting your asses kicked by a Russian ballerina, a social worker, an engineer, and an NGO worker, Tony said as he successfully broke the arm of 6 after disarming the idiot who went after him again, even after getting shot. He quickly gave the weapon to Sam, who could make the most use out of it. Shooter, Steve said as he punched out evil puppy number 7. Oh, honey bear, you love my chatter and my mouth, Tony said, dodging a shot from evil puppy number 8. Thankfully, he was promptly taken down by Sam. Of course, that was the moment that a few more watchdogs ran into the room. Okay, they sent at least 15 goons to kill him when they thought he was by himself. He had definitely pissed some people off. although not enough to send people in that actually stood a chance against that many Avengers. He may have shot a few in the leg, just on principle at that point. Okay, as fun as this team building exercise has been, I really would like to get to the build a compass and find the EMP portion of the exercise, Tony said as he wounded bigoted number 9 in the leg. That was about the time that Piper and Davis made it into the room. Kudos to Fitz for redesigning the icers to being impervious to the EMP pulse. They quickly knocked out the remaining evil puppy. We really can't go on vacation, can we? Steve asked, holding his shoulder. Tony is almost positive he's bleeding. Note to self, considered bulletproof nano armor for Steve because you don't know when somebody is going to try to kill you during breakfast. Although he was certain Steve brought out the shield at some point during the melee. Not really, Sam replied as he was trying to catch his breath. I hope somebody packed a slide ruler. Tony quipped. No one did. But the front desk sent one right up because apparently this was a full-service hotel. They didn't even blink when he asked for needles, bowls, and corks. Once the power was on and even more watchdogs were turned over to the Mumbai authorities, he resolved to give the hotel the biggest tip ever. Besides, he owed them for Steve breaking the bed Sunday. Super strength plus sex marathon equals broken bed. That most hotels will overlook, but bullet holes are another story, so money will need to definitely change hands. Of course, it was only once they were on the Quinjet, the one that was still in Steve's custody, that was modified by the princess because Tony actually came to Mumbai on the corporate jet, after deciding it was best to leave Mumbai now, that he realized that he was right about Steve bleeding. His boyfriend got shot twice by the evil puppies. Once in the leg and once in the shoulder. The energy shield couldn't work quite right during the EMP pulse. Even the super-duper version created by the princess was flickering out. Just enough time for a bullet hole or two. Seriously, what was he going to do with his boyfriend?